So here we are, and all together, even though separated in space and time, we are together in consciousness, and together we will explore the other realms of existence. And we will explore in a manner of kindliness and helpfulness and a desire to, you know, move people on if they are confused or lost or angry or just plain, ignorant. This is our, I guess, method or approach or reason for being together this afternoon, and certainly is mine. And I think you all know I've been teaching and coaching this sort of experience on and off for many years, sometimes in live situations like New Age bookstores or my own basement, which I used to use years ago. People would come here and participate for the weekend. And the experience I'm showing you guys is almost identical. There's been a slight few adjustments in attitude and sort of assumptions on my part. And but essentially it's the same thing I've been teaching for years. And it seems to work, I would say, even better than it used to, for any number of reasons. Perhaps the flood of near-death experiences that we can watch or read about that are very revealing of the other worlds. Our own individual raise in vibration. I think we are all a little closer to the vibration of the astral plane than the average human was, say, 20, 30 years ago. It used to be more of a bit of a struggle to sort of climb that ladder and get in to that higher vibration than it seems to be now. Although that's a very personal perception. I couldn't say that I've done any, formal studies of it, as some researchers do. But that's my general impression. So does anyone have any questions before we get started? I'm happy to answer any questions.
Hey, wait a minute. Stanley, you have Grodon as a co-host?
Well, you've made him, I thought you had made him a co-host yourself.
No, I'll do that right now.
Okay.
Okay, good. He is now. Okay, go ahead, Grodon.
So does anyone have any questions? Anything will be acceptable, even the most minute sort of questions, I'm happy to answer. Okay, so one more thing that I did mention last time. If you find yourself in the meditation contacting somebody that you maybe even know from this world, as opposed to retrieving somebody who is lost or confused or ignorant about what's going on, that's fine. We're setting it up as a retrieval, but if it turns out to be a contact, please feel free to explore that, because that's happening not by accident. That's happening because the person wants to be contacted or your guides think it's a good idea. So please recall that. But I will use the language of retrieval for now, but understand it's very flexible. Okay, so I would have you all relax in any way that is useful to you. If you can stretch out, lie down, close your eyes, breathe more slowly, I would certainly say do so. But I know some of you can meditate in an easy chair, just sitting there with the bright light of day, because you've done it before. So if that's what your preference is, go ahead. I do find that closing one's eyes is more revealing than keeping them open because you're using your inner vision. You're not using your physical eyes. Oh, yes, and one more thing. Somebody, I think Julie asked about animals. Certainly, if you feel like you would like to help out abused animals, there's plenty of them around in spirit. Please do so. And animals, as far as I'm concerned, they're usually domestic pets, horses sometimes, are of equal value to human souls, as far as I'm concerned. So, with that in mind, let us move into our meditation. Here we all are together in this spaceless, timeless grouping. No matter where we are geographically, we are together in consciousness. We are leaving the recent past behind, and we have given up our anticipations or anxieties about what's going to come tomorrow or the day after. Let us live in the present moment, the eternal moment. And as we are in this present moment together, joined in ambition to be compassionate and help those who need some assistance, let us move on up out of our physical bodies. Here we are projecting our spiritual body, if you like to call it that, our astral body. We are projecting it up out of the room that we are in, up out of the building that we are in, and beyond the community that we may be part of. We are floating above our community. And as we get comfortable with that sensation of floating and seeing, or at least feeling, the vibrations of the neighborhood or community that we are in, there will be a variety of vibrations. Don't let them disturb you. They're always there. And let us take that and launch ourselves to where anyone, someone that your guides might suggest that needs some assistance. So allow yourself to move in the direction that you feel impelled to move in, to the space that you feel attracted to the situation that you know is there, waiting for you to enter. And as you do that, I will slowly leave the situation, at least with my voice, not with my consciousness. And I will be observing in a sort of telepathic fashion what's going on. So feel free to do as you see fit. And we will resume our contact in, I don't know, 15 minutes, I guess. I'm not exactly sure. We'll just go with the flow. Don't feel rushed. Don't feel impatient. Don't feel that I'm pushing you. I am not. Take as long as you need. Well, friends, I'm starting to wonder if some of you are ready to return. Just a suggestion, and keep it in mind. If you're not ready, don't feel rushed. If anyone feels like they would like to return, please do so. I think you don't really need my guidance to return. You know what to do. If you've completed what you feel is your task or your experience, return to your body in your chair or your couch and relax. And if not, please continue with your experience. I wonder if we could have a show of hands of those that are ready to be completed and discuss their experiences. Thanks. David? Anyone else?
We got everybody.
Everyone's here? Cool.
Mhm.
Thanks very much, David.
Sure.
Well, that I felt some interesting things going on there. And would anyone like to talk about their experience?
Um, for me, it felt like part B or a continuation of last week.
Yes.
Where I felt it was my soul being saved. Today it was interesting because last week I busted out. Today I was trapped. I got to above my house, above my city, and then I couldn't expand any further.
Yes.
I even panicked a little bit. And then I'm like, okay, why am I trapped? And then I started thinking about last week, and how I talked about, I'd rather go home, and I was kind of confronted with, a decision needs to be made once and for all. Do I stay or do I go? Kind of something like that was going on, and so I was like, oh, okay. Well, it's like, okay, well, Grodon said last week, there was a lot in the pipeline, okay, okay, I'm going to stay or something, right? And then I'm like, then they're like, but think about it, trapped. I'm feeling trapped. And then I got this impression we're feeling trapped. So then it's like, then I felt like I wasn't alone in my entrapment. I felt like, that there was a mutual feeling coming, an energy from, from around me. And the next thing and I thought I had, like my monkey mind was going, but then I realized, no, you're having yes, I'm having conversations in my head. They're not with myself, they're with other people. And, so then I'm like, oh, okay. So I kind of felt like I was in this realm, I guess. I don't know how to explain it, where souls are trapped. And this council, like how I said last week, but you said soul family. I felt like I was in there was a council and they were, in a circle, and I'm like, okay, why are you in a circle? And it's like, well, because it's a good direction or energy. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense, because that's more like dark, like everybody sitting in a circle. And so then there's just, all this, talking going on, and I said, okay, all right, so I'm ready, and they're like, okay, and then you were like, come back. So I felt like, it was like I said, like kind of like part B, it was like this progression to where, training, maybe training or so. And then you said come back, and I couldn't. I was in such I went pretty deep into a trance. I know when I get that way, like, because when I finally came out of it, like, when I go like that, a bunch of bones will crack or whatever have you. But it was interesting. But I used to have allergies. I don't anymore since I've learned Reiki. But that liquid that I used to put in my nose, I forget what it's called, like Flonase or something. When I couldn't move, I then was brought to my throat and my nasal passages, and that chemical felt like it was releasing in my nose and in my mouth. And I felt a lot of sensations from my sinuses. So I don't know, almost kind of felt a little bit like a healing or something that happened. It happened at the end as you like pulled me back or whatever have you.
I see.
So I'm anxious to see what number 3 is, because I have a feeling it's going to be part C. You know what I mean? And yeah. So.
Well, I think you're right there, Denise. You are heading to part 3, and I was interested in that your feeling of being trapped for a while led to a place where other souls seem to be trapped, and that was what followed by a period of hearing voices, a conversation of voices amongst those people.
Yes.
And were they discussing the nature of being trapped and how they experienced it?
Well, right. That, like, to take this energy, make a decision about it. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
To move out of it. You know what I mean? And in that moment, I'm like, you're right. I was making that decision to move out of that. You know what I mean? And then that's the step I need to be in order to help somebody else move out of. You know what I mean? It's, you know what I mean? Because even though that can happen, you know what I mean, when we transition, we also feel that here on Earth. So they were, it's almost like I said, it felt like a training or a teaching. You know what I mean? Of walking, walking in their shoes, and that's what I feel like, because I am, but differently. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Different shoes, but similar shoes, and yeah, and it felt like a council, like there actually is a council that is, that is not necessarily trapped on this realm. I believe that they're teachers of this realm.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It felt more like that, like it was, you know what I mean, like a council of teachers.
Right.
It felt more like.
Well, if you're in touch with them, even if only briefly, that will certainly lead to other experiences.
Okay.
I can definitely see a progression, the one that you're seeing yourself, and I can understand why you're looking forward to part 3.
Yes, yeah. And I hope I don't sound nuts to everyone, but that's been my experience, and I'm just being open and honest.
Yes, well, thank you for that. I appreciate your honesty.
Okay. Thank you. I enjoyed it.
Sure. Anyone else?
Okay.
Okay.
Hi.
As I was going up and out, I was concentrating on staying in this area. I live in Pennsylvania. And I couldn't feel anyone in this area. And as I'm just opening myself up, I got this message from a whale. It's like the whales need us.
Yes.
And so it was very, very touching. And then as I acknowledged that and recognized that, and gave my empathy and trying to direct, but I just felt that call for help. And then when I tried to draw myself back in locally, I could see like shapes, but not any distinct. So that was my experience.
I see. So you connected with the whale in an empathetic fashion. Could you tell if the whale was in this world or the next world?
I felt that it was, I want to say it's both. But I know whales are extremely intuitive, and I think they are a higher life form in some ways. But so I felt both.
I see. That's interesting. and it just it wanted to connect with you in a sort of emotional, spiritual way, and it was sort of calling to you.
Yes. It was, I felt like it was asking for assistance.
Uh-huh. And could you tell what kind of assistance, or just a sort of a sympathy, empathy type of situation?
I think on a spiritual, I want to say spiritual, I think for me to advance spiritually further to understanding them, but it just felt like a call for help. And
I see.
it was it was like an individual spirit.
Uh-huh.
So but I've done this work, this experience of assisting souls to cross,
Uh-huh.
and with people that I've never even heard spiritually or mentally or telepathically from an animal before.
I see. I
So
see. Well, that's an interesting expansion for you, and it's indicative of what this type of experience can do, i.e., expand your understanding. And I hope that you can continue on that and see where it leads you, because doubtless mammals like whales and dolphins are very, very conscious and seem to be on a complexity level equal to us for sure.
so well, thank you.
So yeah, and please come again, and we'll practice some more together.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I'll go ahead. I met a guy, his name was Clyde, Clyde.
Mm, yes.
He was a boxer. It was a combination of conversation with him and seeing some visual things in my mind's eye.
Mm-hmm.
Between my mind's eye and talking to him, I learned that he grew up poor.
Mm,
And
yes.
then, but he was good at boxing. He was taught to be honest. His family taught him to be honest, and he started getting some success in the boxing, and it was getting bigger and bigger. And he was taught. He won some good fights, and he started getting a swollen head. His
Yep.
head swelled, is what we say, because felt that he was better than anybody else. So he changed. He started living the high life, and he got involved with organized crime as being like being a bully.
Yes.
This goes back to the 1970s. He's been like a spirit for 50 years. Or a ghost or whatever. And
Right.
he realized what he was doing was wrong. He went back to his roots, and he told the mob that he didn't want to do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And he was murdered.
Right.
And so I talked to him a little bit, and I told him that he should forgive himself, that it could happen to anybody the way he described it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's happened to a lot of people, not just him, and it was okay. He needs to forgive himself, and then he needs to move on, that he knew he was dead, that life is so much better where he is now than where he was, but he's not going to move forward without help. I really wasn't sure if he had help there already and he was ready to move on, or if he needed to be directed to get the help. So I referred him to my guardian angel, who I have named Gabby, and
Mhm.
she took them, and she took it from here.
I see. Good
That,
move.
yeah, that was it.
Okay, well, uh, obviously we've seen and heard of retrievals like that before, David, but as you know, they always need to be done because there's
Mhm.
many people in that level who get caught up in the glamour of criminal activity and then pay the price.
Yes.
So I think you did the right thing there.
Yeah. Thanks, Gordon. Even if somebody has like small pieces, don't be shy to go ahead with it.
I just wanted to ask Gordon, really. I was trying actually to contact somebody in this life whose mental and physical health I'm concerned about.
Hmm.
And furthermore, they almost certainly wouldn't be in a sleep state. They're probably wide awake at the moment, going about their daily business. How
Hmm.
difficult is that, trying to contact someone here in the life with us who isn't even asleep and try to heal them? I try to put a golden light round them, but I got stuck after that, and I wasn't quite sure if it would work anyway.
Well, certainly your desire to uh, give healing energy to someone can be done while they're awake and moving around. They don't have to be asleep or anything. And I would suggest to you that it does work, and it's always worth doing. Whether
I think I read, yeah. So I was just going to say, Gordon, I think I read in one of William Bullman's works that he did that.
Yeah.
He in an OBE, he visited a friend or someone who was in this life, and he felt some dark areas in their body where they needed healing. And apparently he was able to project his astral self into those dark areas, and his friend apparently reported an improvement in their health after this. So it sounded really interesting.
Yes, yes, I believe that that is possible, and I'm certainly familiar with Pullman's books. Um, so uh, don't doubt that you had a good effect on this person. If your intention is pure, as it certainly was, then it will have an effect. Although I guess you'd have to ask them how they're feeling like tomorrow or next week. I don't know if you're able to do that, but um, or whether you even want to do it. But I would suggest to you that what you did was worthwhile and successful.
Okay, thank you.
David, I've just got a question, Gordon.
Yeah.
Did you come and have a look at where I was at?
Yes, I did give you some energetic encouragement. I can't remember. I did that for almost everyone today. I did, and I can't remember. Yeah, you were certainly up to something, and I just thought you needed a little bit of extra energy, so I gave you some.
Yeah, I just saw you in the top right-hand side.
Ah, yeah.
Just saw your face.
Uh-huh. Cool.
But I was in the room there was an old lady sitting in a high back chair with
Yes.
wings on the side of the chair.
Uh-huh.
She had spectacles on and she had a book in her lap. And there was a bookcase behind. And she asked me what I wanted.
Ha.
And I just said I'm looking for people that need help. And she said, I'm okay, thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
And then just put her head back down, continuing to read this book on her lap.
Yes.
I got a flash of a younger woman, dark haired, and then that went.
Mm.
And then I think it was when just after I spoke to the lady reading the book in the chair, that's when I just got your face in the top right hand side.
Yes.
As if you were looking down to see what I was doing.
Yes, yes. Uh-huh. I certainly did come and check out your situation, but I don't really have to see the actually what you're doing. I just take an energetic sort of check and see if I can help with giving a little extra energy.
Yeah, okay, thanks very much.
So you feel that this lady was passed on, but in a sort of a comfort zone of her own little bubble?
Yes,
Right. Well, as I'm sure you know, that's not uncommon. People will recreate a thought bubble of their home or their apartment and continue on with the activities that they're comfortable with, like watching television or reading books. And they can be hard to move on if they're in a comfort zone. But I'm not suggesting you should have moved them on, but yeah, maybe you can revisit some other time. You can leave these people alone for months and then go back, and sometimes they're ready to move on later.
she didn't seem upset that she just seemed surprised that I was there.
Yes, 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 I know. Um, I've had other people in my own experiences, not today, but other times, where they're in this sort of comfort zone and they're not particularly religious or atheistic or whatever. They just know they've passed on, but they're in this comfort zone of their home and they're quite comfortable there. And uh, I can't get them to move on, or they'll say, "Oh, you're another of these people trying to get me to go to heaven." And I've obviously not been the first, and they've had a little train of people stopping by to see if they can help them, and they don't feel like they need any help. So it's just one of those situations where you can't do very much, and you just sort of have to accept that.
Yes, I mean, I do sit in a small home circle on a Thursday,
Yes.
and what normally happens is that we get a lost soul coming to us.
Oh, right. Okay. Right. With the home circle, sure.
This is like the other way around.
Yeah. Right. Is that the first time you've experienced that, Bill?
No, no, no.
Oh, okay. Well,
Well,
that's
it's the
great.
first time I've experienced the opposite way around, if you like.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yes, I get it.
That I'm going there rather than somebody asking for help.
Right. I get it. I get it. The home circles seem to generate quite a bit of lighted energy that that attracts,
Yes,
wandering souls. And I'm
yes.
I'm familiar with that from not participating, but from reading books. Read Lord Dowding's book about the home circle they did in World War II, attracting dead soldiers and airmen. So I'm certainly familiar with that situation, and I don't place one above the other. They're all
Mm.
equally useful.
Yeah, it's all people that need help.
Yeah, and you just have to accept that they're happy campers. And uh, I think I've said in various of my books that I've discovered uh, earthbound souls at soccer games, baseball games, football games, and they're there because they love the game and they can sit in an expensive seat that they never could sit in when they were alive, and
Yeah.
they just love it, and they don't see any reason to leave. And
No.
I mean, you can't convince them. They certainly don't want to go.
Yes, very true.
And so it's one of
Imagine
those
that.
things.
I can imagine that.
Pardon?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, Bill. Thanks for sharing.
I was just having colors and shapes, waves of colors and shapes.
I see. And that's similar to what you had before?
I had more waves and only two colors today, green and blue.
Right, I see. And you quite enjoy that, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Well, when I checked in on you, you seem to be you've made a sort of an energetic comfort zone for yourself that is quite pleasant. And I get the feeling that you're a little nervous to go beyond it. You're wondering if you can take that comfort zone with you as you go traveling. And I tried to encourage you today that you could do that, but I'm not sure if that message got through.
Okay, thank you.
But another time it will.
Thank you.
Well, I guess I just had one question in mind. My I helped my husband to cross over, and
Yes.
this was a few years back, but
Mhm.
I never got any kind of message back, like if he made it okay or if he's happy. I don't know. Is there some way I could tap into that?
Did you try to tap into that today?
Not today, but
Oh,
through the weeks and days and months, I have thought about, I would like to know if he wound up in a happy place and made it okay, basically.
I see. So, what did you try to do today?
I didn't
You
try to
didn't.
do anything today.
I see.
Um,
Well, I would suggest, Nikki, you come back next session, and we'll specifically work on that issue.
oh, well, you mean like 2 Wednesdays from now?
I believe that's what we're up to, David. It's 2 Wednesdays from now,
Yeah.
isn't it?
It's this is how you remember, it's the first and the third Wednesday of every month. That's how
Okay.
that's when we're meeting, the first and the third week in every month. Yep.
Right. Sometimes I can't make it, but I'll try hard to make it because I would really like to know. It's been since 2019 now.
Right. Well,
And
I'm sure we can contact him if you help them cross over. That I can't think of any reason why we wouldn't.
I mean, I got one sign
Hmm.
about about a week after I crossed him over. It was a strong odor of flowers.
Oh, yes, I seem to recall you saying this. Yes.
Yeah. But and that was a nice experience, but it really didn't let me know. I mean, I think that was maybe his way of telling me he made it okay, but I just don't feel convinced completely.
Yes. Well, it's certainly fragrances are one of the most common ways that spirits communicate. Flower fragrances and sometimes fragrances of certain sauces and foodstuffs that they think you will recognize as one of their favorites. They often use that. So I would definitely say that was a thumbs up from him back then. But I think you want more than that.
Yeah, I would like a little more
Well, I mean, I
confirmation.
can't think of why you couldn't contact him in a meditation and have a conversation with him.
I've
It,
tried, but I didn't
Mhm.
get very far.
Well, next time we uh, meet, I will try to help you with that. I can give you some energy on that situation.
Thank you. I appreciate
Sure,
it.
sure.
Stanley, we haven't called on you yet.
No, I'm afraid I didn't get very far tonight. Um, I, I can't do this all the time. It's very sporadic that
Mhm.
I manage to really get away. Um, I was at the regular meditation last night, Tuesday night, at the church, but um, it was very peaceful, and
Mhm.
I just couldn't get away at all. I got nothing whatsoever. But
Right.
that's typical. I'm sorry.
I'd like to
Well, I did join you in the church today for a few minutes, Stanley,
Uh-huh.
and you're definitely there, but you're not opening your spiritual eyes. So I tried to work on that a little bit,
Uh-huh.
and but your spiritual eyes have been closed for a long while. I'm not sure why. There's something that you don't want to see. Not sure what it is. You want to feel it, but you don't want to see it. So then I went around the spiritual atmosphere of the church and talked to some other spirits that were there. And I said, I want you to stand around Stanley and give him energy. So there's about 8 of them surrounded you and gave you energy, not me, them, to try and sort of have you see them. But that maybe that will start to work, but it didn't work today. But that was my little effort to try and promote some more communication for you.
Okay, thank you.
But they were all there. There's all these people that are in that church that know you quite well.
Right.
And they're quite happy that you're there. And they didn't really think to do anything particular until I went around and sort of harassed them and said, okay, I want you to do this. I want you to stand around Stanley and give him all kinds of energy. Sort of like
Right.
they would be standing around in a circle around you. But that was mainly because I was sort of being a little pushy about it.
Right.
But anyway, that's what happened today, as far as I'm concerned. And I hope that we can make that a little more fruitful for you on another occasion.
Right. I will try and sense something next week.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
I got something. I just wanted to let everybody know that I know the last 2 times I've had these detailed experiences, but let me reassure you, I mean, this has kind of happened before to me. And then I'll go months and months or maybe a year before, and everything's blank. It doesn't happen again. So you don't always keep it, is what I'm saying, and it's okay. Gordon, where'd you go?
Oh, I'm right here. Sorry.
Oh,
I
I
see
lost you from my
Christine Books.
screen.
I had a question.
Yes.
At the end of the meditation, I saw this beautiful pink, like pink sunset orange color in a fabric, like a netting, like a wave. Did that have a purpose? Did that have something that I need to be aware of, or is it just something that it almost resembled? Well, I've seen 2 things of this nature. One is this deer netting I'm working with my roses, but the other is I've seen it as like a fabric of reality representation. So I'm not sure if I was supposed to take anything away from that.
Good question, and I'm not sure I can answer it one way or the other. Visual effects, when you're going through these experiences, are entertaining and stimulating, but I sometimes find it hard to ascribe a specific meaning to them. But when you said it reminded you of you said a fabric that you're working with currently?
Yeah, it's a deer netting that I threw over my roses to keep the deer from eating them.
Oh, I see. I see. Right. Okay. Well, do you think you were just seeing a version of that?
Well, it's very possible. It was the small type of squares.
Yes.
It,
Yes.
it was, yeah. So it very well could have been that. That's where it came from.
That's what I suspect now that you explain it further.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. No problem. So has anyone else had some late breaking thoughts or impressions that they'd like to add? Sometimes things come in a rush afterwards.
I take my spectacles off, Gordon, when I go into meditation.
Yes.
And when I put them back on, they were actually icy cold and they steamed up straight away. And it's 20 degrees centigrade in here. So I don't
That's
know
interesting.
where the cold
So,
came from.
so you projected someplace that was quite cool?
I didn't feel the cold.
Uh-huh.
I suppose when I picked my spectacles up and put them on and they steamed up, I must have had a lot of heat with us, but I just felt comfortable. I didn't feel hot.
I see.
You see what I mean? It's just the interaction between not having specs on for about 20 minutes or something like that, and then putting them on and they're just fogged up.
Right, right. Well, we're certainly familiar with how spirits, earthbound spirits, can change the temperature of a room, but it didn't seem like that lady was in your room. It felt like you went to where she was.
Yes, I did.
Hmm. So maybe she was cool, and you picked that up from her.
Yeah, she just sort of appeared, if you like.
Uh-huh.
Rather, I mean, it wasn't black, but it was quite dark. But
Yes,
I
yes,
didn't feel frightened. I didn't have a torch or anything, and I was just sort of traveling.
yes, yes.
And then this lady just appeared. Well, I mean, the first thing I saw was the bookcase and the like wings on the side of her chair.
Yes,
She was just sitting there quite comfortably reading, and she just looked up. But
right,
I didn't go through a door. It was just as if I appeared in front of her.
right,
Or
right.
she sort of got this trigger that there was someone standing in front of her. And then she
Uh-huh.
just looked up. You know, it was
Sure.
rather, it was strange, really.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you had the experience because it will give you a deeper understanding of how to deal with these people, and because you'll likely meet more of them, and it's that sort of sense of self-satisfaction with one's life that many people have can just continue on when they pass over, and it takes a while to dissipate.
Yes.
So if you're patient and are willing to return and visit with her, then that will certainly help her
Oh,
in the long run.
at all. She wasn't annoyed. Do you know what I mean? It was just as if, like, I wasn't expecting a visitor.
Yeah, right. A little
That sort of
surprise.
feeling.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, well, you can certainly enter someone's living space, Bill, without going through a door. I found myself doing it a few times. It's usually spirits that I've visited before. I wouldn't interrupt someone's privacy like on a first time, but if it's a repeated visit, I see myself just showing up, like appearing in the room where they are,
Hmm.
and I just have to accept that I can do that. At first time it happened years ago, I thought, "Oh my goodness, how did I do that?"
Yeah.
And you just sort of have to accept that you can do it, and you just go on with the situation.
Yeah. I need to think about it quite a bit, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens next time if you come back and join us again. I'll be
Yeah,
looking forward to hearing about that.
yeah, certainly.
I have a question to Bill. Do you have some reflection of who this woman is in the chair?
She looked a bit like my dad's mother.
Oh,
She had spectacles on. She was quite rotund.
so she did recognize you.
I would say yes, she did.
Therefore, she wasn't surprised that you showed up.
I think she was a bit surprised. When I think about it, I just get the impression it was like, you shouldn't be here. But
Yeah.
not in a way of sort of chasing me away, but as if she was on the other side, I'm on this side, and she knows I'm on this side, going over that side.
Yeah.
That sort of feeling, as if like it's not your time yet. Even though I'm getting on a bit. I mean, I know I haven't got long, but
It's many years left, so yeah. I was curious.
yeah,
Thank
I
you.
don't mind answering either. It's just this the last rescue we actually did, because there's like two of us worked together, and Freda started off with this lost lady. No, it's actually, well, yeah, a lost lady and a child. But then it was my guide that said we had to construct a train. So then you're sort of thinking in your mind, right, I need a train. But the train that was constructed was a steam engine in green with gold letters down the side. But then we needed carriages, so we ended up with 3 carriages with a door at each end, and they had a corridor down the side. So it's like old-fashioned trains from anywhere from the late 20s to sort of late 70s. But then the platform and the canopy, but as soon as we had the platform and the canopy started to come in, the platform filled up. But it was mainly children, although there were some adults there. And one of the little lads had a cap on and a suit, but it was short trousers with grey stockings. And he had a little, like a case, but the case looked like leather, but it was actually made of cardboard. And he was on his own, although there was a lot of people around him. There was some reluctant to get on the train. And we had to, like, look, get on the train and everything will be all right. And eventually we did get people on the train, but there was another guy there who was the guard with a whistle and a flag and a like a pillbox hat, like a round one with a peak on, which I found a bit strange. But he helped the last lad onto the train because there was one young boy left, and he went across and got him to the train, then lifted him through the door. Then he waved his flag and blew his whistle and got on himself and shut the door after him. And then as the train pulled out of the station into what seemed like a tunnel, the tunnel lit up with this sort of pale white light, and the train just went through the tunnel. And then it just, and it went. But before that, we had 3 in a row. One lady, we couldn't, she told us where she lived, and it was and she gave us an address in Liverpool, and when I looked on Google, I couldn't find it. But it was almost 2 weeks after that Freda got a photograph came up on our phone of this accident in Liverpool with this Mercedes that had crashed at 2:30 in the morning. And it said this accident was the junction of a street and then the name that this lady had given us of where she lived. And it was in Liverpool. So then when we checked what was on the phone, that was the address she gave us. And yes, that street does exist. in Liverpool. It was just, but she was she couldn't get in her door. She was at the door of a house, and she couldn't find a key in her bag. And then when she found the key, it didn't fit in the lock, and she didn't know why she couldn't get back in her house. And then she'd seen Fraser and like, "Can you help us? I can't get back in the house." But she'd actually passed. When she got up, she'd swung her legs off the bed, and then that was it, gone. But she had a friend down the street in number 18, an old lady. But she hadn't seen her. But it's strange how the conversations go, and I can never remember anything of it until I see the video or I listen to the tape. And then it's just as if, bump, there's your memory switch back on. And you can almost sort of preempt what's going to be said sometimes. It's strange, but then again, I haven't been doing it long. For my age anyway. I've said enough. Sorry.
That was interesting. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Well, I didn't start till I was 69, God.
Oh, I see.
When I lost,
Okay. A
we
late
lost
bloomer.
I lost the daughter-in-law.
Uh-huh.
And then it was 6 months after that that strange things started happening.
Yes.
Messages,
Yes.
and you end up at the church. Yeah. And then you meet somebody who does like the face changes without ectoplasm. They just manipulate the muscles and the face change.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And I've been working with that lady Frida for the last 5 years.
I see.
But they got me to write a book about the first 12 months.
Oh, I see. You've written a book on it. Okay.
Yeah.
Frida is amazing.
Yes, she is.
She started to contact me, and we chatting about have some Zoom rooms that we can share some ideas to each other, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Mm.
She's fantastic.
Yes, she certainly is.
Yeah.
But she's been like that since a little girl. She's been to India and a couple of times and seen different things and spoke to different people. And our friend used to spend 6 months of the year over there. Who was our observer when I first started to sit for spirit. But she's quite old now and quite frail. But yeah, there's a story behind that as well. So
Yeah.
what happened with her and what spirit said, and I think that was the first time I actually knew that I was out of where I should have been in my body.
But I can just share this. I haven't been joining these kind of groups for so long. It started, I think it was in February. It started that Frida was going to be the medium at Paul Hinson's Zoom group on Friday.
Yes.
That was the beginning for me. And since then, everything is just going straight up. And I even know, I remember I said to Wendy in the end of that Zoom about this subscribing newsletter and that kind of stuff. And I said, yeah, please send me every Zoom link you got. I'm really into this. And that was the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm so grateful.
I don't know how it started, I think it was just an advert I saw on the phone, on Facebook, and thought, what's that? And I went one night and I've been going ever since.
But
So
I started a couple of years ago, but not in this. It was just dipping my toes into that kind of world. But then I lost it. But now I'm really eager. Every Sunday, every newsletter that comes on the Thursday evenings, I'm just yes, go for it.
yeah, I was a guest in 2021, I think, on the Global Gathering.
Yeah.
And I've done a couple with Shayla Lowe on the automatic writing and mediumship group. Well, that's 1:30 in the morning for me, start time.
Oh,
And the second time Shayla was going somewhere, so she just left us to it, and it was breaking daylight when we finished. I think we were talking for about 2.5 hours, 3 hours. But it's
Well,
fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating.
we're coming down to the end of the pike here now. Any last words, Gordon?
no, I'm quite happy with how it went today, and I encourage everyone to come back next time. I think you're all on an ascending journey here to more sophisticated and complex experiences. So I encourage you all to return, and I thank you for your contribution today.
Thank you very much. See
Thank
you
you,
guys.
everyone.
We'll see you in a couple weeks. 2 weeks.
Thanks.
Yep.
Bye bye.
Bye.
You-
And you stay with me, Gordon.
yes. Yeah. He will.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Bill.